Alright, so yesterday I posted a picture of my revamped, I cleaned everything up and organized everything in my art space photo, and I've had some people ask me about supplies. And it got me thinking about how the last time I posted a supply list was 3 years ago, and while I do use some of the same materials, I've added and subtracted and kind of changed things around, not only with how I approach art journaling and how I do it, but just through experience and just using so many supplies over the last 3 years actually. So I wanted to go through and tell you, I guess this would be the updated art journal supply list. This isn't a representation of what you should have, it's just a representation of the things that I've kind of gravitated towards over the last couple of years and enjoy using and find that have a high quality that always are dependable for me. The first thing I've got here is I use golden fluid acrylics. They look like this, and I've got a whole bunch of different colors in this tub of paints. And I'm sure you've seen these before on other artist blogs and photos and such. I know I have, and I've noticed. They're still something that I really love using. For about a year I did use the cheaper craft paints, and those are totally fine. Actually, I didn't have much money, so I'd rather spend my money on cheaper paints and then I could have more colors. These are great if you are comfortable mixing colors. You don't need a ton of colors. In fact, they sell a starter kit that comes with like these little tiny ones, and it was $25, and then you got the basic colors in a color mixing guide, which was really beneficial and kind of helped me out. In here I also have a couple different things. I always use a tube of, this is a heavy body white by Golden, which is great for covering up certain elements or mixing with paints to make them more opaque, because some of these can be kind of translucent. Another thing that's my favorite is they sell a line of glazes. This is Fresco Cream, and I know that you can mix your own glazes and get glazing medium, and you can even do that with craft paints. I just like the colors that they've mixed themselves for these glazes, so I love the Fresco Cream. I've also got Rust and Aquamarine, but those are just because spur of the moment, oh I really like those, I'm going to get those things. I also have Sume ink for Sume A, and this is what my bottle looks like. I get this at Dick Blick, and I use this for all my ink writing, and I really love it. I doodle on pages with it, I write on pages with it, I've used it on paintings and so forth, stuff like that. So that's just like, I really love it. So it's better than calligraphy ink, in my opinion. It's a more solid dark black than you get with calligraphy ink. The next thing I've got here, this is my box of Caran d'Arche watercolor crayons, and they're just like if you've used the Portfolio oil pastels, but they're easier to write over. They're a great crayon. Here's one of them just for example. They last a long time. I've had the same set for a couple of years now, and I haven't had to replace any crayons yet. They are great for drawing with. You can smudge them with your finger to get that kind of hazy pastel-y look. And then you can actually add water and they look like watercolors, which is really great. So they're my favorite. If I was stuck on a desert island, because they're so versatile, and if you're in a position where you don't want to make a mess, they're great. You get a water brush and carry these around, and I've done backgrounds like that. I also have a set of, these are just pan watercolors. They're the chalky ones that you get for kids. I think this cost me like, the original price was $13, but I had a coupon at Michael's. And these, you can actually use these I thought watercolors were always supposed to be translucent, but if you use less water, then they're solid colors, so they're really a lot of fun to work with. I then have this nice cup of randomness with just a couple supplies that I think you should know about. Of course, I've got my bone folder, and I love these Sharpie poster paints, the water-based ones, which you can find at Michael's now. And I just get them in a variety of different sizes in black and white. I really don't need the other colors, and the blacks and whites are just really great to work with. I also, let's see if there's anything else. I have a craft knife, but you should have those. I have a couple of brushes, and I showed these in the last time I did a supply list. These are just, you could get these in Joann Fabrics in like the stencil painting area. They don't cost too much. I'm just a big fan of the gold tack-on for my brushes. So I just have a couple of sizes. I have an angler, smaller one, and then this is what I use to write with ink. And then I have these cheap kids brushes everything's falling off the cup now. For like stenciling, and this one's like for glue and gesso. So that's always nice to use. Glue will sometimes kill your brushes, so don't spend too much money on the glue. And speaking of glue, I'm not a huge fan of gel medium anymore. This is Collage Podge. It's Tracy Bautista's formula for glue, and I just love it. It's it holds very well. You don't get bubbling under. It's not as thick as gel medium. I just love it. You could even use it for resists. It's waterproof, so if you put it over an element, it kind of seals it in. And she makes sparkles and matte as well, but I like the glossy one, of course. Let's see what else I have over here. I do have, this is called Invisible Care Easy Air. This is actually a lotion that you put on your hands before you start working, and it's kind of like a lotion version of gloves. A lot of the paint pigments that you use will have metals in them, and that's how they get their color. That can be harmful to you from years and years of use, obviously. But it's just a little peace of mind to know that you have this on your hands, and that'll help protect your skin. It's also really moisturizing, and I even use it after I got a tattoo because it's all natural as well. I still use the same double-sided tape. This is the Tombow Mono Adhesive in permanent, and of course this is the kind where you can get a refill, and so I just get the refills in bulk because I go through one a month. I still have my gesso. This is actually a big tub from Blick. If you can get it, this is actually great value. It's really thick and creamy and white, and I love it to death, and it cost $9 at Blick. And you can go online, of course, and order this if you don't have a Blick near you, but I just really love this stuff. It's my favorite now. For coloring, I have Copics. And when I started journaling, I got a couple of these, and I was like, what's the big deal about these markers? I mean, you can just use any kind of markers, right? I love the colors that come in. I do a lot of writing with this tip. I also have the airbrush attachment, and that's what I use with stencils on my journal pages. And I just really like how they color. I'll stamp stuff and color them in and blend with them. So they're a lot of fun. They seem like they're really expensive, but you can usually find coupons or deals online, and then you can refill them after a while. Like I have this one. This is my black one, and this marker cost me $3. The refill cost me $6. And the refill will fill this about 8 times, so that's a couple of years at least of that. On the colored pencil front, I use the Derwent Color Soft. This is what they look like. They are the smoothest, most buttery colored pencils I've ever found in my life, and the starter set comes with some really amazing colors and that was part of the reason I picked it, because it had the colors that I liked using. So those are my colored pencils and my markers. Let's see if there's anything else uber important to show you. My friend just got me into rubber stamping. I've had this stamp set for a long time though. This is my alphabet stamp set, and they're actually wooden stamps, and I'm sure you've seen artwork with these used as well, and they're well worth the $25. I've had these for years. I love them. I always use them. I'm the kind of person who wants a type of stamp that's going to be versatile, that I'll be able to use over and over again. So that's kind of what my stamp sets reflect. I'm not going to show you specific stamps because I don't think that you need a specific stamp. I've really gotten into the distress inks though, which are great for doing watercoloring or tinting or stamping with. These are so versatile. There are so many things you can do with these that I even made a little booklet of experiments with these because there's just so much to do. So if you're interested in stamping or just a new way to do colors, these are really fantastic. And of course, if you get them, I would recommend getting at least one of these little ink blending tools. I tried using cut and dry foam, and it didn't work very well. And then of course they also have the mini mister. Another thing, I was like, well, I can just get a bottle of water wherever and that's fine, but the mist is actually finer on these. And when it comes to stamp pads, I use the Memento stamp pads because these are really recommended to me, and they just give really great color and very versatile. And then of course I've got a box of paper scraps. So I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I have other supplies. Of course, I have 2 folders of just scrapbooking paper. I have a cutting mat because that always saves your tabletop, so I've got one of these. And I use a plastic tablecloth placemat that I got at Target to save my workspace. But other than that, that's pretty much all I use whenever I do any kind of art. So That's my revised supply list, and there's a typewritten version over on my blog if you want to get that and see more details, since I had to go pretty fast for the YouTube 10-minute thing. So I hope that helps at least a little bit, just to kind of show you some really great products that I found that work really well. And of course you can ask any questions, but try to contact me through my website because I answer there faster than through YouTube. And of course, if you're watching this on Tuesday, you can come join me over at Ustream for my live vlog from 7 to 8 p.m. Central Time.